Coach, you find yourself in a position where probably your most talked about player has yet to play a game, yet to do a practice. Does Garrett Gilbert go into camp as your starter, and how do you tailor the offense to fit a guy who hasn't had that long to learn your system?
He'll go in as a starter, and you just you add all your plays, but then you scale back as to how he comes along. If he's not coming along, then you scale back and you do fewer things until he gets the feel for those, and then you move forward. But it's no different than, I've done that 1,000 times before with quarterbacks. You go from Atlanta to Detroit, you got a new quarterback, you got to get him ready for the first game. It's just the same deal. Garrett's not any different than any quarterback that starts a year out for the first time. It's not any different.
He described himself as a freshman with 3 years of college experience. Does that give you, how much confidence does that give you that you can throw more at him than you could an 18, 19-year-old kid who's coming in and starting for the first time, but obviously much younger?
Well, he's been in the big arena, played in front of a whole lot more people than are going to be in the stands at SMU. So he that part of the game, he's been in the big one before, so it's not like an 18-year-old, kid coming from a high school to walk into a 100,000 seat stadium. He's been at Baylor, he's been at, Texas A&M. He knows the arenas, so he'll be a little more mature, even though he's learning a new system.
Considering the foot surgery that ended Zach Lyne's season a little early last year, are you surprised that he's preseason conference offensive player of the year? And what do you expect from him in his senior year?
Well, I hope he gets through the season healthy, and hopefully that'll be what he does. I think he's, one of the solidest football players that I've been around. He's just a good all-around football player. And if he is able to line up, he'll have production again this year. Hopefully he'll be healthy.
If he averages the same kind of yardage per game that he did last year, he'll break Eric Dickerson's all-time career rushing record. Is that important to you to have a June Jones coach running back knock a legend like Eric Dickerson out of the record book like that?
I don't really ever think of those records. They just kind of happen, and you root for a kid to be successful, but those records would never cross my mind when the season's going on. You just he got hurt last year and would have had some more yards and probably broke some records last year, but hopefully, like I said, he'll just get better and stay healthy and continue to contribute like he's done for us the last 2 years.
Garrett Gilbert arrives, obviously a highly decorated high school player, and he's got 3 years at UT. But considering you have 5 new starters on the offensive line and some new receivers, do you envision maybe leaning a little more heavily on the running game this year?
No, not really. We'll do what we do. I'd say the same number of throws, same number of touches, that we always have. It's what you do is why the running back has production, is because we throw the football. If they wanted to take Zach away, they would take him away, and then you better be able to throw the football. So defenses kind of choose to play a certain way, and if they want to put 7 in the box, they can stop Zach from running, but you better be able to throw the ball. And the reason they don't put 7 in the box is because we throw the ball. So.
You do have 5 new starters on the offensive line this year. What do you like about the group that you have coming back, and what impact do you expect your new O-line coach, Bob Palcic, to have on this?
Well, Bob coached O-line for me with the Falcons for 3 years, and one in Toronto, one in the CFL, so he's a good teacher, and he'll have a real impact on the young kids, bringing them along quickly. I think athletically we're pretty good in the offensive line. We're just going to be young, but that you kind of, like I said, you can kind of scheme-wise do some things to to help them too. So we'll do what we have to do to make sure that they're comfortable and can play at a high level.
At receiver, you've said before that Darius Johnson has the potential to be as good as any receiver you've ever had, but he's always had an Aldrick Robinson or a Cole Beasley or someone on the other side of the field. How do you envision Darius reacting to being your lead guy, your number one guy, and being the focus of other teams' pass defenses?
Well, it's hard to focus on a guy in our offense. Nobody really can do that because you got four guys that can play. I think Darius will benefit from the two outside guys growing up and fast and making plays now. That'll probably have more of an impact than Jeremy, going in for Cole. Jeremy did a great job last year for us, and he'll, I think, pick up the slack this year the same way and be productive, just like Cole was at that spot. I think the same thing happened with Emmanuel when Emmanuel was here. The same exact situation, and Emmanuel maintained his production. So I don't anticipate Darius having any fall off at all.
Last year you had a very strong defense. You lost some key starters, both defensive ends, Chris Banjo at safety, Richard Crawford at corner. How do you expect this year's defense to compare to last year's group?
Well, I think we're better on defense this year than we've been. The losing the numbers, some of the D-line, like Marquise Frazier, losing guys like that, along with the guys you mentioned. But we have some young guys that are athletic that will jump in and hopefully fill up those voids. Safety, we have a young freshman safety that we're excited about, and hopefully, the corners. I think we have two really good corners. Well, really four good corners right now. So we have more depth than we've had. I think we're faster. All the linebackers are faster. So from that standpoint, I think we'll be, I think we'll be better.
Margus Hunt drew a lot of attention even before he had 3 sacks in the bowl in your victory over Pitt. Is this the time where the conversation about former track star Margus Hunt is gone and he just becomes starting dominant defensive end to you?
Well, this spring he was a different player, that's for sure. This spring he was unblockable. And he too, knock on wood, just stay healthy, and I think he's a dominant player.